I am a congressman candidate for the 1st District of Wisconsin. So we're letting you know that this morning. And we've got a campaign website, which is yorganforcongress.com. Come on over and take a look at it. Read what I have to say, look at some of the videos, see if it's anything you agree with. And if you don't, change your mind. Good morning. Welcome back to Talking Racine. This is episode 74, and it has some personal significance to me that I'll reveal later on. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, gentlemen, Mr. George Myers.
Good morning, 70.
Mr. Jim Spodek.
Good morning.
I'm Dr. Ken Yorgan. And we're going to talk today about a couple of things, and the first thing we're going to talk about is all of the housing that potentially could be coming under the auspices of the city of Racine.
200 houses.
200. And I think there's more than that are out there.
They were talking about 300-400 were there, but
Right.
we're just taking
a couple hundred.
Yeah, just a couple hundred of them.
Yeah, well, the way this is happening, for those who didn't read the Journal Times article or are up to date on this, is when a home gets foreclosed on and is just like left vacant, it goes back to the county. The county actually takes possession of it. And they pay taxes on it to the city of Racine. So on 200 houses, if the taxes average out to about $2,000 a year, that comes out to $400,000 that comes into the city of Racine.
And this is very interesting because the city assessor does not reduce the price of the house or the assessment of the house because of the condition. They leave it right up there just like it's in its pristine condition that it was when it was occupied. So
So $2,000 is a pretty rational estimate.
When the taxes go into default, the county pays it. They don't even take possession of the property.
Yeah.
It's still in the name of the owner or the last owner, but they pay the city the taxes on it. So the city's still getting all that money, $400,000 a year on those properties.
Where does the county get that money?
It gets it from our other pocket,
not
one of our
pockets.
But the thing
Comes
is,
out of the right pocket, not the left pocket.
but the thing is, everybody in the county shares in the expenses, not
Right.
just not the Racine. But that's what
But
they
to
get.
take those houses back, you no longer get those taxes.
That's
now
right.
it's the
Right.
city's responsibility to do
So-
whatever with those houses, and we're talking about 200 houses.
That's right. And the city, remember, they shut off the lights for $80,000.
Right.
Now this is $400,000.
90. It was a big
90.
number.
Oh,
Big
whatever,
number.
90,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and close the community centers and the rest. So we all forget these little numbers, but we're talking 400,000. There seems to be no problem here losing 400,000.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come back now if they put 100,000 into each. Now, granted, probably half of them.
We talked last week where they're putting $215,000 a piece in two houses in Racine.
And building some new ones for $275,000.
$275, right.
So, I mean, apparently this spending money on housing like that doesn't seem to bother them. But let's just say they stick $100,000 into each house.
Which about seems kind of their bottom line.
Yeah, $100,000, which that's the bottom line.
It certainly is a nice average. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit below the average.
George, how many dollars is $100,000 times 200 houses?
200. That comes out to $20 million.
$20 million.
That's even a lot of money for the redevelopment authority.
That's chump change.
Well, they only get $1.5 million a year, and they got.
All right, but we're going to dig into this a little bit deeper at the next show. We got some other things that we want to bring up, but
I think that's a real good. We need to do a little more research.
Yeah.
It just came out today that they're going to do it. Let's find out what's going on. I mean,
Well, I'd like to put a plug in for our friend Ola, who was here, several weeks ago, who's training people how to do this kind of work, among other things.
What a tremendous job that would be to grow that first Racine program.
Yeah, grow that. I mean, they could do that rehab work for a lot less than $215,000.
well, you train some
a house.
people, and I mean, there's a lot of good things that could come out of it. But
Well, not to mention the guys in the tiny homes, the veterans over there. I mean, there's probably got to be one or two guys that'll qualify for home ownership.
one of the quotes, I just want to read this quote because I can't leave it alone. We also have to demonstrate that we can rebuild existing neighborhoods that are in distress. Corey Mason, Racine mayor. By taking back these 200 houses, we're going to rebuild these neighborhoods, and the three neighborhoods.
No. Or demonstrate that we can.
Demonstrate.
He didn't say anything about actually doing it.
He called them opportunity zones, Lincoln King area, which is from what I understand, down in
From the
Dr.
Lincoln
Martin Luther
statue to the
King.
King
Down,
statue.
down around
Right.
State Street, just south of State Street on
Downtown,
Hamilton, yeah.
downtown is an opportunity zone, and half of uptown. So going into downtown and coming out of downtown, of course, downtown. Those
Right.
are your opportunity zones. The rest of the city apparently doesn't fall into the opportunity zones. These other areas are doing fine. It's
Yeah, the other people have
2000.
had it. If you live outside the three opportunity
It's just
zone, yeah.
there's so much here that we'll get into it a little bit later.
I think it deserves.
My neighborhood looks great
yeah.
since I put that porch on.
But here's the other thing: the Machinery Row had a collapse, and you know,
Allegedly, I haven't gone over there and looked.
yeah,
But I just glanced at it and I thought, is that a picture of the old part of the?
no, that's that. There was a collapse. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that could possibly have caused that collapse.
Name two.
Water plugged on a roof. You could lay in a ton of water. Just put a couple
Didn't they
rags
just put a
in the
lot of
drains.
rubber on that new roof on that? Didn't they?
Yeah, some of that. Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, no, some of that they did. But here's the thing: we can repair 200 distressed homes that are coming back to the city. We can't put a roof on a building that's 100 years old. That 3 or 4 years ago was going to be made into a $65 million development.
Historic
I mean,
property,
it just
yeah.
is such the
Something going on, yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's so thick.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of take a critical thinking and look at this. You got a $65 million project, but we're going to let that go to hell. But we're going to take 200 houses from the county that we're going to lose $400,000 a year on, and then knock them down and demonstrate that we can rebuild our community neighborhoods.
This comes under the classification of pull your pant legs up, the boots are already gone.
I mean, you got to kind of laugh at this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too bad it's so sad, but it's just mismanagement, a total mismanagement. No idea what they're really
There's a
doing.
lot better ways to do it, but
Oh.
meantime, we want to get around to some interesting developments here in the political arena.
Yeah, we'll complain more about that later on.
Yeah,
Future
okay.
issue.
Well, we'll get to that.
Well, yeah, this is the beginning of the 2018 political campaign, and it's like governor, lieutenant governor, treasurer, and of course Congress, first district Congress, any district of Congress throughout the state of Wisconsin,
All eight of
actually.
them. Yep.
But we're in the first district. It runs from roughly Kenosha to Janesville. Beloit is kind of carved out. I don't know what they got against Beloit. Maybe they didn't vote the way they wanted them to when they redistricted. But that's the first district. So what we've got is, how many candidates we got here? We got 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. 13 candidates for one seat. Somebody's not going to make it.
No, there's 9 candidates. You're counting that. There's a couple that, the incumbent Paul Ryan is not running.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
And-
that's right. I didn't.
Yeah, he's not running,
Yeah.
and then
I'm counting
there was
11.
one that was withdrew. But we have there's 9 candidates running for the first district. Democrats,
Well, and actually, once the primary is over, there'll be 1, 2,
3.
3.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do a little work on. We'll start out with the Democrats. We'll go in alphabetical order, at least up here.
Great.
We'll follow it down the way this
Look
printout
the
is.
way it's listed on the.
Yeah,
website,
it's not alphabetical, but close
No.
enough. The Democrats are Kathy Myers, who's a school teacher over in Janesville. I think she's been on. Was she on the school board?
I think on the school board, yeah.
Yeah. Haven't seen a lot about her, but
Do we know anything about what she stands for?
yeah, there's some things.
Unequivocally support Medicare for all.
Mm-hmm.
Universal health care system. So there's a couple of her stands.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Eliminate major hurdles for entrepreneurs.
that'd be nice.
Organize and elevate the stories of people affected by our broken election system. Defend public education. Yeah, so I mean, she's strong on education.
Yeah, sure,
at
she
least
would
on
be,
this profile. And then we've got Randy Bryce, who's the other Democratic candidate still in the race, and they're going to face off on what is it, August 8th?
14th.
14th. August 14th will be the primaries. That'll be for the Democrats and the Republicans, and
Now, Randy is, he ran a couple early videos that with Ryan, well, before Ryan retired or
Yeah.
said or stepped down, or planned on stepping down, and he raised quite a bit of money. You know,
Yeah,
with that.
he-
He did. He
he's
raised a
done pretty
couple,
well.
$2 or $3, $4 million, I heard.
and I understand he's spent an awful lot of money already.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I heard too. But big union backer,
Hard hat guy, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
hard hat guy. Yep. Yeah. So
Raised a lot of money.
raised a lot of money on Ryan. Ryan left. I don't know what's going now.
Yeah. Well, maybe you have a bake sale or something. You never know.
How does he? Have you seen him as a candidate? Have you seen any speaking engagements
No.
or anything?
No.
You don't
not
see him talk a lot, quite honestly.
No, he got an
He had a
endorsement.
great video out.
Yeah, he did. He put a good video out. I mean, and again, it's healthcare. I don't know. He's got some of this. I know OSHA. He wants to ban OSHA totally. Very much union orientated. Obviously, he's a steel worker. I actually know Randy. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. Should he be a representative? Yeah, we'll find out.
All right, let's move into the Republican branch of the festivities.
Ooh, got a lot there.
Dr. Brad Boyven. Dr. Brad Boyven is from Janesville. He's a mental health worker, mental health professional who treats people tackling addiction. Well, that's an important role. I mean, I was the first chairman of the Racine Intercity Council on Substance Abuse years ago. I don't even know if that's still in existence, but it was a good effort at the time. We got some funding out of Madison, and then I moved on to other things. I've got plenty to keep me busy. But as a mental health professional, he's ready to use my healthcare experience and conservative principles to end the opioid epidemic, that's a huge problem. That's a noble.
Yeah, no,
noble
I
venture.
agree.
I've had some patients myself who have been on opioids, and sometimes you can get their pain under control with what I do. I'm a chiropractor. And
That's why I prefer to do it, Doc. You're my kind of doctor. First step
So
to
far,
my
so good,
chiropractor.
George.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
well,
Get the bones back where they belong first. Then we'll worry about the drugs.
Yeah.
eat some vitamins.
Yeah, take some
He's a
vitamins.
constitutional conservative whose Christian faith is deeply rooted. Boyven is gay and came out in 1994. So he's
A gay conservative.
yeah. That's
Christian
interesting.
gay conservative.
that's you hear about that more and more. Actually, it's kind of a
Let's go to the next one.
sounded
Paul
unique when the first time I heard that. I went,
Paul Nealon. He ran against Ryan Pryor. He's he had kind of a reputation as ultra right wing.
Yeah.
Really? What's an ultra-white wing? What does that mean, Jim?
Well, we must build a wall from the Gulf to the Pacific because you cannot bribe or extort a wall, but I would think you should be able to bribe or extort the people guarding it. I don't know.
I bet you could.
You build a 30-foot ladder, or
well,
a
he's
30-foot
been,
wall, and
you
you
know,
buy a 31-foot
The
ladder.
Republicans don't necessarily favor him. They've kind of kept him out of some of the activities or different
Yeah, I think he was
functions.
self-funded last
Yeah,
time,
he
wasn't
was.
he?
And he's a little bit of a rebel on the Republican side.
Yeah, he's-
The Republicans aren't, far-reaching, conservative-wise.
I think he was, in his ads, he was riding around on a Harley
Yeah,
last time.
yeah.
Let's tax the remittances to Mexico to reimburse the U.S. taxpayer for a wall built now. Is that another attempt we're going to make Mexico pay for this wall?
Mexico's going to pay with a wall.
Maybe that's what the. But I mean, these
Good
are.
luck on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't work. Economics doesn't work.
I don't think
that
that's even legal.
way. Well, it doesn't matter if it's illegal. You obviously can't tax another country.
Well,
you
know what he's talking about? He's talking about people who work here, like people that are working on dairy farms or in agriculture or roofing. What money that they get paid, a lot of them are sending money home to Mexico. And what I think he's talking about is taxing the money that they send home.
Well, that's a good trick. You have to
but you gotta be
investigate every
more-
envelope.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
That's another one. Let's get Big Brother in your back
It's
pocket
just,
again. I don't see that working.
it sounds nice. We're going to
Yeah.
make Mexico pay for it.
A
but-
lot of this I've noticed about politicians. A lot of it is just a lot of grandiose ideas that never really materialize in anything. And
They're called sound bites.
Yeah, I think that's really what they are.
It sounds good.
there's no substance. There's no
David
credibility.
I don't know whether it
Or Nick
means
Pulse.
anything.
Police.
Pulse. Yeah.
Pulse. Now this guy, I think I met him.
I met him.
Is he the guy that came from Texas?
Yeah,
I think
lives
so.
in Lake Geneva.
He-
Moved up here strictly to run in that race. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Against
Yep,
Ryan.
against
Interesting.
Ryan, yeah.
He's
conservative.
he was with the Rangers.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was with the Ranger.
Yeah.
He's good on the Constitution.
No, he says the federal government should not act to command and control our lives. I agree with that. Instead, it should create and foster an environment that allows American creativity. I agree with that. Diversity, individuality, and problem solving to prosper in this environment.
Well, that's yeah.
The one thing about these deregulation guys, it always seems that it sounds good,
It does.
but you get up in the office and who gets deregulated?
It's
The
hard.
millionaires and the billionaire corporations that are, I mean, that are
Well,
polluting and
If you followed Ron Paul like I did for many, many years, way back, 20, 30 years, he was in Congress for 2 20-year stints. And Congress just got worse and bigger the whole
Yeah.
50 years that he covered the period.
Yeah.
It's really hard to go in there amongst 400 people with one person like this. This is where we get down to all politics is local. I'm not going to shift the conversation to that, but the fact is
Yep,
that
I agree.
that's
I agree.
that's where it's nice to have someone up there, but sometimes
well, at least you
need
like to hear the voice, you
Yeah.
know, like stop it.
Yeah,
All right,
that's true.
Nick, let's go to the next one. Jeremy
Jeremy
Ryan.
Well, you watched his video,
I'm going to put the video up.
are you?
Matter of fact, let's just put it needs to break this up a little bit. I'm going to put the video up right now.
Okay.
Are you pissed off at the direction the country has been going in for years? Do you feel like your elected representatives care more about money than you? Are you tired of the Republican Party image being defined by religious zealots and racists? Do you miss the days when there was a such thing as a fiscal conservative? Well, then we have the candidate for you. Jeremy Ryan is a new type of Republican believing that radical change requires something radically different. He smokes cannabis, he drinks, and folks, he even swears. He's not a polished and grown politician, he's a regular person, and he's pissed the fuck off, and he's not afraid to say it, no sugarcoating here.
I'm pissed the fuck off. And you know what usually helps when I'm pissed off? Cannabis. Nope, still pissed the fuck off.
But enough about him. Let's go to some of his ideas. Legalize cannabis. Allow billions upon billions in extra tax revenue and even more billions upon billions in prison savings. Locking people up over a damn plant. You know why money is green? Because it'll be raining extra money when green is legalized. End tax breaks for giant corporations, but instead apply that money to small and medium-sized businesses. End the days where GE pays $0 in corporate taxes, but your family farms and Main Street community businesses pay up to 35%. End Citizens United. Take massive money out of politics and make it so special interests don't have so much power more than the people the government is supposed to serve. Impose tariffs. Make the value of the American worker mean something again. Finally say enough is enough and penalizing companies who ship jobs overseas. If you live in a district and want to hop aboard, text FUCK YEAH to 608-770-7701 and you can let us know that you want to get involved.
Well, what do you think? Would you label him an ultra-conservative?
You know, I know that his name Ryan, this is what I heard, that he figures that people are going to think of him as Paul Ryan, and they're going to vote the Ryan. Oh, it must be that good
Is he
young
just
man.
gonna have-
Principle of confusion.
Is he just going to have the name Ryan on
Well,
the
he's
ballot?
I probably have to type.
Is he the one that you called Kid Cannabis or
Kid
something?
cannabis.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, he's running as a Republican, so
Hey, it's a legitimate issue, but I mean, the way he's going about it was,
wild.
yeah, wow. Kevin Steen, I don't know a darn thing about him. Did we have any profile on him?
35. He's from Burlington, conservative.
Oh, we did have something about
Yeah,
him, didn't we?
Trump-like. He's a
There he is. Burlington
works-
man joins first district Republican race.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
first-time politics. I mean, give him credit for
He has a
running.
good understanding of economics and the people of the first district.
well, he works here in town at Putzmeister
Yeah,
in Sturtevant.
so
And he's a conservative base of the district he wants to represent. I'd like this to hear what his concept of economics. I haven't heard a politician yet that understands economics.
Right.
Sorry, they just don't.
Well, you might have a wait.
That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah. Well, we got to spend more money to help build the economy.
Right,
That's
right.
first thing. Keynesian.
Brian Stile,
Okay.
last Republican. And I think he was the last one to enter the race on the Republican ticket.
I think he was. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was an aide to Paul Ryan,
right.
and,
And he comes from a family of lawyers, is it?
attorneys,
in
big
Janesville?
attorney firm in Janesville. That attorney firm if I'm not mistaken, I was told that his father or grandfather, I don't know, was Tommy Thompson's personal attorney.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Republican ties there. He's kind of the
I think he's probably the dark horse. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a
well,
lot of he's got a lot of inside contacts.
probably connects to the money.
Yeah.
Is he the heir apparent?
Yeah.
That we're talking about.
I
Okay,
think
he's
so.
the one that's kind of picked to
Right.
by the
Well, and wasn't he Walker
well established.
picked?
Oh, is he the one that was
Yeah,
the?
he had something
yeah.
to do with Walker.
It was he the former chauffeur, Brian Steele. Yeah, he's the former chauffeur of Speaker Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
He
So,
drove him around to meetings.
so I mean, I don't
Oh.
see why we can't.
Probably learned a lot in
Yeah,
the front seat of that
knows a
car.
lot.
Yeah, he knows where the bodies
Yeah,
are buried.
yeah,
I tell you,
yeah.
you ain't gonna have any trouble getting funded.
What are they
you
talking
know?
about back there?
They'll throw all kind of money at this guy. Okay,
Yeah.
well now we know where he's going.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, withdrew Jeff Wombold, not running Paul Ryan, the incumbent. He's retired. And I actually called
more
that.
gu- one more-
I called his retirement the night before it happened. I said, he's not going to run. I don't think he will.
You called it?
Yeah, I said, I think the people who are financing him, who own him, if you will, are going to say, listen, there's a good possibility that the Republicans are going to lose control of the House. Paul, you're not going to be Speaker anymore as a result of that. You're going to live in 2 years of irrelevancy. You got a campaign coming up that looks kind of tough. You might get bruised up a little bit. If you retire, sit out the pasture for a couple of years, come back as an elder statesman. I think that's the strategy.
Well, and I think. you
And the
could-
next day he announced he's retiring.
Yeah.
Remember
No,
that conversation?
I do. Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and we got one more candidate, and this is where 74 comes in. It was my old jersey number when I played high school at Park High School football. I guess I kind of played high school too.
Okay.
Anyway, I think I got a lock on this election because this is episode 74. My old jersey was 74, and I'm running as an independent.
Yeah.
I am a congressman candidate for the 1st District of Wisconsin. So we're letting you know that this morning. And we've got a campaign website, which is yorganforcongress.com. Come on over and take a look at it. Read what I have to say. Look at some of the videos. See if it's anything you agree with. And if you don't, change your mind.
No,
But I'm a serious candidate. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Serious candidate means you're legitimate in the race. Because
Well,
other than
yeah.
that, I don't find you as serious at all.
well, but I am. I mean, I enjoy
You and your
life.
smart mouth.
Yeah, I enjoy life. I'm a bit of a smart
Careful,
aleck, but you know, I really do have policy positions, and they're all available.
Oh,
on the
you do?
website.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you should check them out, George.
You have an interesting way to present them, is all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I give you a lot of credit for running. I mean, I do, because it's a lot of work, and I'll be honest. I've looked at these candidates, and I'll be honest with you, Doc. They've got nothing on you.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as critical thinking, I want to throw up a couple videos that were done.
You look at these candidates and you want to throw up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's not a very kind assessment.
No, but
Throw up
I
videos.
really,
You got to quit eating them, Jim.
We've got this thing called Foxconn coming into our neighborhood, which I don't really have much enthusiasm for, to be quite honest. We're spending over $4.5 billion to subsidize a foreign company to come in, tear up thousands of acres of farmland to produce TV screens and computer screens, which are probably going to be obsolete long before that project is ever paid for. That $4.5 billion is going to take at least 50 years to recover.
They claim the village is taking their lands and homes for the benefit of a private corporation.
We talked about eminent domain,
right.
and we mentioned specifically what we anticipated what they would be using in eminent domain, which is fraudulent and anti-constitutional, really.
Hold on a second. When there's that much political interest in a company, there's something else going on.
And my point is, if you're dealing with a government who has never honored treaties with Native American people, do you really expect them to honor the Constitution when it comes to white farmers and suburbanites getting booted out of their homes for a foreign company to come in?
No, and I really do believe that you've got a real shot at this now, an independent. And I know that I went out and helped collect signatures with Doc, and I'll tell you from my experience, people are fed up with this two-party system. I mean, we were at the Kenosha Farmers Market.
We got a lot of response from people that said, "Well, you're running as a Republican or a Democrat?"
Right.
I say independent. Give me that. I'll
Give
sign
me that.
it.
We'll sign that. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I think,
42% of the public self-identifies as independent.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of your, I know a lot of your policies and what you believe in, and I think it really is a lot of mainstream. It's kind of that not Democratic, not Republican. I can see why, you're kind of that. I don't want to call it
level-headed.
Yeah, I think that's a good term for it. Level-headed. I mean, you have to deal with the environment you're in. But it doesn't mean you have to just kind of roll over, and I think a lot of these politicians have done that. And personally, I think Paul Ryan did it, And I think maybe he started
Honestly,
out
I don't know what the heck he was doing.
Yeah,
I've tried to get a handle on Paul Ryan, and the one thing that he did that I respected, that I would continue to do myself, is be responsive to the constituents.
Yeah.
If somebody calls up and says, "I got a problem with a Social Security check," I got a problem with my taxes were done wrong, and I'm getting a problem from the government. It's actually the representative's job to intercede for the constituent with the federal government. I mean, that's a big part of it. It's a very important.
That's
part
a very
of the job.
important part of it. In fact, it's been so important that some people have accused some of these politicians of making complicated laws just so that people would get into trouble and they could come to them and respond to it.
Oh, jeez.
No, it'd be
I'll
nice.
never do that. I'm not looking for work.
No, I know you're not. And I would count on you, someone like you, an independent. This is where an independent could possibly do it, and that is go in there and just start getting rid of some of these complicated laws. They aren't needed. They aren't doing any good. They're just getting people in trouble.
Here's the thing, George. He's not connected. Nobody's paying. Believe me, nobody's buying him.
Right.
There's no money. There's no money flow in.
Not for sale.
This is going to be all, again, donations, small donations coming in. I know that, Randy Bryce and Kathy Myers, we're small donations that we collect. No. There's all big money behind the Democrats and Republicans. There's just absolutely no way around that, and that's what's happened in politics today. So for an independent to jump in, it gives a real... It's going to give an alternative to those two parties, and I think that is hugely important. And I think from when I collected signatures, people are out there and they're ready for it.
Well, like I said, 42% of the public identifies as independent. So if everybody votes independent, I'm a shoo-in, because that leaves the other two parties to basically divide the remaining 58%, which isn't even 30% apiece.
And here's the thing, Doc, you're well versed on a lot of the subjects. It's not like, I'm not trying to take anybody from anybody here, but truthfully, I don't think anyone can hold a candle to you.
Well, I appreciate it, and the check's in the mail.
Yeah, good. Well, somebody will buy you.
No, I meant for you for saying that.
Well, good.
But anyway, from the position that I have here, I would like to welcome everybody to the race, and let's have a spirited contest.
Yeah, and I'd like to kind of bring one thing up. We volunteers, because this is strictly, souls on the streets, because it's we need a lot of volunteers. So on that website, there's opportunities to get people out and to volunteer, even if you just do lit drops or donations or calling, emails. There's a lot of stuff.
Hold a house party.
A house party.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come in and have a conversation with you.
And it's very
it'd be really unique and refreshing to have an independent congressman in that
absolutely
big hellhole that's all going on in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be? Can you picture someone like Doc on there? And where he would differ from Ron Paul. He's got a smart mouth. He can say things so they're heard. Ron Paul was very smart, but he was very held back. And
that's one of the things I would say to people when I was gathering signatures. Is there anything you want me to holler at them people when I get to Washington D.C.? And actually, I had a gal just last week says, I'd like to work on your campaign. I used to live in Texas and I'm in Wisconsin, and I've been looking to get involved in politics. And
there's a guy with a smart mouth that got all the way to the top recently. He's still raising hackles in some of his comments.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yours might be from a little different angle, but it gets attention and it gets heard, and that's what we need. Someone who's going to go in there, not just and represent. I mean, I see some of these congressmen might not do a real good job as philosophically, but are they going to make enough impact to actually get a change coming
And here's
about?
the thing. Here's what
It's a really
Doc's not a
thick
young
wall.
guy. I mean, he's not. Look, this is not a career move.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My
He's a-
mom thinks I'm young.
God bless your mother.
I think he's young.
Yeah.
Hell, I think he's old.
Kid Yorgan.
But I do think that I mean, he's going in for the right reasons, and that's why I'm helping him out with it. And we're not going to make the show a Ken Yorgan show now. It'll
No,
be
we're not?
No, we're not.
Oh.
But I just wanted to make sure that because I know you got some press releases going out and there's
Yeah.
certain things. And
Well, I got an interesting email from a guy out in Janesville who runs the Gazette of Janesville.
yeah,
And he said, there's 2 questions I have to ask, and could you please keep the answers brief, and we can get into more depth later on, et cetera, et cetera. And his first question was, how do you intend to help the Republicans win this race? And I thought either he didn't read that I'm an independent, or... But you know what? I will help the Republicans win the race, and I'll help the Democrats win the race, and I'll help the independents win the race. You vote for me, we all win. Because I'm going to represent everybody in the district.
Did you tell him that?
I'm gonna.
Oh, you're gonna. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
That's good. That's good.
Anyway,
That's
I
good.
think
Well, anyway.
that probably wraps it up for this morning, huh?
yeah.
All right.
YorganForCongress.com, YorganForCongress@gmail. We'll put it on the screen.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your support.
And thanks for running, Doc.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well,
Going out and getting those. How many signatures? 1,400, 1,200 signatures.
about 1,200, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a pleasure being out there interacting with the people in the district.
Yeah.
I know that there's some candidates who actually pay people to go out and collect
Yeah.
signatures, but you and I actually spent a lot of time out there. We
Got 90% of those signatures.
Yeah, we did, and it really was interesting talking to people.
Mhm.
So, anyway, thanks for being here. Come back next week, and we'll talk to you more then.